Whatever the setbacks of the moment, nothing can stop us now. Whatever the difficulties, Africa shall be at peace. However improbable it may sound to the skeptics, Africa will prosper.
Education is the light in a dark room. It's the spark of a dream, a passport to the future, and the seed of generational change. Through education, we reflect on yesterday and define tomorrow. UNISA stands at the pinnacle of education through open distance e-learning with a footprint of students in 130 countries worldwide. Rooted in South Africa and the African continent, UNISA can truly claim to be the African university in the service of humanity. Since the founding of the university in 1873, as an examining body, we have been a trailblazer. UNISA is the first and only institution in South Africa to carry our country's name with pride and the first public university in the world to exclusively teach by means of distance education, an ever-changing dynamic university with a global reach. UNISA's history spans the entire modern history of South Africa, opening up a world of academic study opportunities to former activists and struggle heroes, thought leaders, business people, legal experts, acclaimed entertainers, and sports stars. The university takes pride in the more than 900,000 alumni, making their mark in diverse fields and capacities. At UNISA, the World Wide Web is our educational playground, but we also have beautiful and impressive campuses. UNISA's Makelneek campus is located in the city of Tshwane and is a major landmark of the capital city. We encouraged our students to communicate with the university via online platforms, but you can visit the UNISA's Sunnyside campus, the perfect setting for students to engage with fellow students over a cup of inspiration. The Science Campus in Florida, Johannesburg, is designed to meet the education and research needs of students in a range of programs, including agriculture, nature conservation, consumer sciences, engineering, computing, and physics, to name a few. Students in the sciences now have access to UNISA's own laboratories, housing some of the most state-of-the-art infrastructure and laboratory equipment available. Distance learning requires that you study at your own time and in your own space, but that doesn't mean you're on your own. You can also visit a UNISA regional center to get advice, meet other students, make use of UNISA services, have conversations with counselors, and use our academic libraries. We offer an unparalleled range of study choices, ranging from short courses and certificate programs to 3- and 4-year degrees, diplomas, as well as master's and doctoral degrees, with close to 380,000 current students. Our rich tapestry of study disciplines includes the College of Accounting Sciences, Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, Economic and Management Sciences, Education, Graduate Studies, Human Sciences, Law, Science, Engineering and Technology, and the Graduate School of Business Leadership, as well as the Thabo Mbeki School of Public and International Affairs. As a comprehensive open-distance e-learning pioneer, UNISA is known for delivering well-designed, interactive study material and integrated student support. Students have access to a menu of support services ranging from face-to-face tutorials and academic literacy services to study groups and e-tutors. One of UNISA's main aims is to harness the new and emerging potential in information and communication technology, catapulting the university into a truly digital future. To this end, examinations are conducted on college-specific exam portals and are accessed from the My Exams portal. UNISA is well placed to address society's most demanding challenges by using research to meaningfully transform the lives of those in our communities. To that end, UNISA is working towards instituting the following catalytic niche areas: marine studies, aviation and aeronautical studies, automotive studies, energy studies, space study and square kilometer array, fourth industrial revolution and digitalization, natural sciences, health studies or medicine, feminist, womanist, Bosadi theorizations, and student support and co-curricular activities. As Africa's leading open distance e-learning university, UNISA strives to keep up with the constantly evolving higher education landscape in order to serve our students to the best of our ability. We can reflect with great pride on the past 150 years of transformational education, and we are confident in our ability to succeed and become a truly high-performance university as we define tomorrow.
Morning, everyone. Morning. Molweni Sanbunani Dumelang. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mono Abisimbe, and I will be your co-host for today. I'll be managing the program with one of my colleagues who's going to come at a later stage. Welcome to 2024 Law Professionals Workshop. Thank you for joining us. I can see that all mics have been muted. That's actually a good thing for everyone. We are trying to avoid distractions. You know, the last thing we need is to waste time. Now, before I waste more time, I will ask our director for counseling, who's Dr. Mashia Bata, who will officiate and properly open this workshop for us. Let me see if Dr. Mashia Bata is on the floor. That's perfect. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Very well, thanks. Yourself?
Good, thank you. I'm good, thank you. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Mashia Bata. Please officiate the program for us so we can commence with the schedules for the day.
Thank you very much, Program Director, and good morning to all who are here, the students, our guests, the team from Counseling and Career Development, the guests of honor who have taken their precious time to come and be with us this morning. I salute you. It gives me great pleasure always. It becomes an honor for me to be part and parcel of this kind of important events, such as the Law Professionals Workshop that we have today. The Law Professionals Workshop, ladies and gentlemen, is one of our activities that are aligned to our university's mission of being, of service to humanity. But also it's aligned to our departmental objective of inculcating student graduateness and employability skills before they leave the university. We accompany our students on what we call a student walk. Before they apply, we are there in the schools. When they register and study with us, we accompany them, providing them support to be able to make a success of their teaching and learning journey. We don't leave them there, but we also accompany them as they graduate and leave the university, because my personal belief is that education is not just education to learn another language or for literacy purposes, but is that individuals who go through any kind of education must be better equipped and prepared for work. So education, all what we do about it is to equip someone so that they can find an occupation. So this, for me, it's a very important event this morning, that we are going to explore the legal profession. Today, I can promise you, it's about an exposure and quite an exploration, of the legal profession. When I look at the lineup, I am sure indeed we are going to be exposed to the legal profession, and we're going to explore different facets of law, because so many times we think law is just about defense of a person in a case. But I like the lineup here. We're going to be very much enlightened. And I believe your eyes are going to be opened, your minds are going to be enlightened, and your spirit uplifted, when you think about the legal profession. I personally have an appreciation and a high regard for the law profession, for the legal people and their role in society. Actually, everything that we do or don't do, all our lives are based on law. So to my learned friends, the colleagues from the law professions in your different specializations, as I look at the program, we are deeply honored that you are here. I know the busyness that involves your profession, but that you have taken time from all your schedules and important tasks that you have to do to be with us. We don't take it for granted. We welcome you. We welcome you all, students. Welcome everybody that's here today for this big event. And we look forward to a great input that will impact our students' lives going forward. We appreciate your time, and I will say, sit back, relax, and gain some knowledge that will be better for you for the rest of your life. Thank you so much, and you are welcome. God bless.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mashia Pata. Thank you very much, sir. That was our director for the Directorate of Counseling and Career Development here at UNISA. Now our program is officially open and we are starting with the workshop. What I will be doing for the day is I will be calling out speakers. All of them, they are from the fraternity of law, right? However, they have different specializations. Now, they'll be teaching us about these different specialties and telling us on how to gain access or on how to become professionals in the fraternity of law. Today, we have a very interesting lineup. We have a very interesting lineup. We have external stakeholders who come from different companies who just took time and to come here and share all this information with us. It is highly appreciated. And like Dr. Mashia Pata has alluded to that, you just need to sit back and relax, but just make sure that you have a pen and paper so you can write notes because crucial information will be shared today and you don't want to miss anything that's going to come up. Our first presenter is from Sekhwapa Incorporated. This is Mr. Sam Shadung. He'll actually be delving into the topic of conveyancing. Now, he'll be telling us as to what conveyancing is and what one needs to do to become a conveyancer. Mr. Shadung, the floor is yours as soon as you're ready to present.
Good morning, everyone. I think let me try and share the screen.
Okay. Yes, it's visible. Thank you, sir. The floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you. Just a second. Thank you, everyone. I will be dealing with conveyancing today. In law, conveyancing is the transfer of legal title of a real property, usually the house, from one person to another, or the granting of an encumbrance such as a mortgage bond or a lien. Ordinarily, sale of a movable property is initiated by a sale agreement or an offer to purchase. Installment sale agreement could be one option of buying the property. Some other options might be donations, exchange of property, or even through a court order. Ownership of a property, which is an immovable asset, is not the same as, when you purchase movable assets, over the counter, like grocery. You go with your money, use your money, you buy, that is your asset. But usually with transfer of property, you have to follow the process and you only become an owner at the end when the property is registered in the deeds office in your name.
Mr. Shadung?
Hello?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you able to enlarge your presentation? Maybe put it in presentation mode.
Let me try that.
Okay.
How is it now?
I think it's still loading. It's still coming. No, it's still a bit small. Let's see. But it's fine. It's visible. No, but it's visible enough. It's visible enough. Thank you, sir. You can continue.
You can give me a second. Maybe let me just try and enlarge it in a presentation mode.
Yes.
Just give me a second. I'll be with you just now.
Okay. And by the way, Mr. Shadung, if you really don't mind, because I know all of our students don't know who Mr. Shadung is, if you can just do a mini small intro of yourself, that would be highly appreciated.
Okay, just a second. I guess this is the mode that I can't seem to be. How is it now? Does it make a difference?
No, it's still the same, but it's visible. We can all see what's going on.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Same scheduling is a conveyancer at Sekhuapa Attorneys. Has been practicing in the property sector for just over 20 years. Is also a member of the Legal Practice Council, sits in the Disciplinary Council, Disciplinary Board Committee of the LPC, is also involved with the preparation of conveyancing, where he set question papers, and also involved in the marking of conveyancing, as well as other competency admission exams for the Legal Practice Council. In short, that's.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I think I just dealt with this aspect, and then we'll just deal with admission. I think a conveyancer is a specialist in property affairs, and a conveyancer must be admitted as such by the High Court. Usually that's regulated in terms of Section 24, read with Rule 17 of the Legal Practice Act. One must be admitted as an attorney first before you can be admitted as a conveyancer. And you have to further pass those competency-based examinations in terms of Rule 29 of the Legal Practice Act. Normally, as with admission as an attorney, one has to be fit and proper person. It is normally regarded, you're normally required to have the highest standard of professionalism, honesty, fundamental to conveyancing transactions, because you're normally, placed with large sums of money. Guarantees do pay out in the form of mortgage bonds, or a deposit is paid out into your law firm. Therefore, it is required that, you must exercise honesty and the highest standard of professionalism. Even your local statutory law societies do require, to be of high standard, normally that you'll find in terms of Section 15 and 20 of the Deeds Registries Act, the Legal Practice Act, codes and regulations. We'll then zoom into job opportunities. If you have studied property law or conveyancing, one can be a conveyancer or a legal advisor, and we'll just segment them as to what does a conveyancer do. Conveyancer deal with transfer of immovable properties, registration of mortgage bonds, cancellation of mortgage bonds. In an ordinary conveyancing transaction, one deals with probably 3 sets of attorneys. As I have just indicated, you will find that there's a transferring attorney. That will be one person who deals with the registration of a property from one person to another, usually the seller to the buyer. And you will also find that that property is bonded. So you will also need to deal with a bond cancellation attorney who will be cancelling the existing mortgage bond over the property. And most instances, you will also have to deal with the bond registering attorney who will be registering a new bond over the said property. The conveyancer is usually a bit different from your normal attorney, because in most instances, what you do is you represent the interest of 2 parties, that is the seller and the buyer. Hence, I had just alluded that, it is required that you need to exercise the highest standard. Is unlike, when you are an attorney, for example, today you may find that the former President Jacob Zuma is charged by the ANC he will have someone who represents him, and that person cannot represent the other party that is actually charging him. But in conveyancing, you find one attorney who has to juggle between the interest of both attorneys, of both clients. Therefore, the duty imposed, as we have indicated, is that of a higher standard required. Conveyancing may be a lucrative profession depending with the set of economy. Normally, when the economy is turning upwards, it is quite lucrative. But when the economy goes down, it may affect the practice. So normally you need to, even if you're a specialist, also delve into other practices so that your business does not just go down. And over and above transferring of properties, registration of mortgage bonds and cancellation, a conveyancer may also be able to open townships where there's settlements of new people buying properties, opening of sectional title schemes, which is similar to the opening of townships. And they can also register some servitudes now and again. That is mainly a conveyancer. Then you also have an opportunity. You can be a legal advisor in the corporate sector. Mostly you find listed properties companies and banks. They do require people who specialize in properties. You may also become a legal advisor in the government, or let's say the public sector, where you assist with contravention of bylaws, advising government on special planning, assisting government with the remodeling of housing in general. Conveyancing is normally tied up with notary. A notary is normally a person who specializes with authentication of documents. They can also do your antenuptial contracts. They also do notarial deeds, which are similar to notarial mortgage bonds, which are bonds that secure movable assets, and unlike the mortgage bonds, which secure what we call immovable assets. But what we normally find, especially with notarial practice, is that when you do conveyancing, you may find that you are dealing with sectional title schemes, which are normally your flats. And you may find that a flat goes with or is attached to what we call an exclusive use area, maybe in a form of a garage or a parking bay. And those can only be transferred through a notarial deed of cession. So you can also try and enlarge your practice by registering as a notary, so that you can also deal with that to just serve, to do a full practice. I think that will be the end of my presentation. If there are any questions, we can take that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shadung. We appreciate the effort that you put into this presentation, and the fact that you actually spared us about 4 minutes for questions. So this is what's going to happen, guys. If you want to pose a question to Mr. Shadung, you just raise your hand, and our technical directors will unmute you. Then you will be given the platform to ask the question. Okay, let's see if there's any hands raised while Mr. Shadung is still on the platform. See if there's any hands. Okay, I see France, happy. Let me see if, let me unmute. Okay, how many hands do you have? 2. Okay, guys, please bear in mind that the number or the amount of questions allowed will be dependent on time. So I'll start with number 1. France, guys, can you please unmute to France? Franz Happy Mokonwana.
I wonder if you can hear me.
Yes, we can. You can
Okay.
ask your question, Franz. Good
Yeah,
morning.
good morning, everyone. How are you today?
We're good, thanks, Franz.
We're good.
Good. I'm sorry, I joined a little bit late because I was actually due to the network failures, but I managed to get in. My question is that as one like myself, I'm studying BCom law. What are the opportunities after this where one can actually see himself or herself in terms of like the work market? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Franz. Mr. Shadung?
Okay, sorry, I thought it would be more related to conveyancing, but yes, as a BCom law student, I think you can also pursue LLB and do what do you call it? Come into the profession either as an attorney. Can also do conveyancing. You can be a legal advisor with your BCom law. Yeah, I think normally it will relate to you. You can go into the academic sector as well. I think those are the open, professional opportunities.
Thank you for the response, Mr. Shadung. Franz, are you happy?
I'm happy. Thanks. Well answered.
Thank you very much, Franz. Let's go to the second one because we left with 2 minutes. We have N. Shozi. N. Shozi, let us unmute you so you can pose your question to Mr. Shadung. N. Shozi?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am, the platform is yours.
you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
I'm doing a diploma in policing. So what are the job careers that I can do that are related in policing? It's only policing and no other jobs maybe.
Okay, Ms. Shozi, thank you for your question. I'd like to respond to that one.
Yeah.
Guys, this is for everyone. Yeah? What's going to happen, ma'am, is that we are going to be having different speakers who will be diving on different topics, but only under the legal fraternity of law. You understand? So currently, Mr. Shadung was making a presentation on conveyancing, right? He spoke about being a notary and deeds and transfer of deeds, etc., etc. So now, currently, the questions that we are open for are only related to conveyancing. Don't worry, you will get an opportunity to pose the question to the relevant speaker. I hope I make sense.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll just be a bit patient. This program is going to be running for 2 days. Yes, so we have a lot of speakers coming through. You will see the person that is more related to what you are talking about. Then definitely you will get a response.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Shozi. Thank you very much. Guys, because of time, unfortunately, we have to continue with the program. We can't be taking any more questions on the live platform. However, what you can do is you can go on our chat box and text your question. Mr. Shadung will definitely get back to you.
Thank you.
Hope it's all understood.
Thank you. And goodbye.
Mr. Shadung, thank you very much, sir. Is there anything else you'd like to add maybe before you leave?
No, I think that sums it all.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Mr. Shadung. Thank you for a lovely presentation and responding to our students.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. As we continue with our program, next we'll be calling on stage Ms. Tshepiso Palafala. Now, Ms. Palafala is from IPLASC, which is the Black Lawyers Association Students Chapter. Now, Ms. Palafala will be telling us exactly what they stand for as an organization and what is it exactly that they assist all our law students with. Ms. Palafala, are you on the floor?
Yes, Program Director.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Good morning, and the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you once again. Good morning, everyone. I do have a presentation. So while I try to introduce myself, Mr. Mnabisi, I don't know, can you please help with sharing my presentation, please?
Yes, you can just email it to me.
Yes.
Okay, no worries.
Good morning once again. My name is Tepiso Palafala, and I'm the current chairperson of Black Lawyers Association Student Chapter, UNISA Florida campus. I know the previous program that was published said I'm from BLA. No, I'm not from BLA, but I am from BLA SC. Are you winning, Mr. Mnabisi?
I haven't received the email as yet. I'm still waiting for it.
I did share it during the week with one of the admin officers.
Okay. Let me just check with my colleagues. You can keep on introducing yourself. Just give me a moment.
Just a moment, Mnabisi. I'm going to share it now.
Oh, thank you, Chloe.
Also, Mr. Munavisi, with the luxury of to attend such workshops in the comfort of our homes, sometimes it becomes a little bit tricky because then you don't know if everyone who joined is fully present and engaged. So I haven't seen any hands on my side. So if I could request that maybe a few students clap hands or something to see that I am indeed audible and we are all fully present. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Can we move to the second slide, please? So in my presentation today, I will touch on what is BLASC, how to join or be a member of BLASC, what we offer, and why you should join BLASC. Next slide, please. So BLASC, we are a student chapter of the BLA, that is Black Lawyers Association, that was established when the legal profession was predominantly white and Black lawyers faced discrimination. We usually get the question, are we an organization for Black law students? The answer to the question is no. Yes, the name may sound and suggest a specific focus. However, our membership and activities are extremely inclusive and welcoming to all law students, regardless of your background and your age. So BLASC is not exclusively an organization for Black law students. We serve as an organization dedicated to supporting and empowering law students. The mission is to foster a sense of community and belongings among our members, providing valuable professional development opportunities. We are committed to diversity and inclusion within the legal profession and addressing issues that impact law students, as well as the legal community as a whole. Next slide. How to join. So if you want to be a member, if you may be doing high certificate in law, LLB, diploma in law, could be forensic, any course within the College of Law. We do have an online form. You fill that in. From there, you need to pay an annual membership fee that costs 50 Rand. You pay it annually, and then you'll have access to our WhatsApp group chat. Then you are a good member in standing. Next slide. So what do we offer? We offer a range of opportunities that really enhance your academic and professional journey. We offer networking events to connect with professionals and your peers, legal seminars, vacation work programs. Currently, we do have members or students who are doing vacation work. We do also assist with referral letters. So with that, we encourage our members to not just be members in good standing, but to be active. So because then we know what to write exactly about you on the referral letter. Court observation is one of the things that we offer. We did that early this year, or rather last semester. I think it was around March. The first picture that you saw on the previous slide, that was the Johannesburg Magistrate Court. We were divided into two groups because we have more than 100 members, by the way, at Florida. So we were divided into two groups. The other group was in Roodepoort and the other was in Johannesburg Magistrate Court. And we've also have fun day. Yes, there's time to be serious, but we also understand that it's very important to just unwind and relax sometimes. So last semester before exams, we went hiking and we also had a braai. Those pictures that you see there, it's us. That was the fun day. Next slide, please. Why? That's I believe that's my next slide. My last rather. Why join BLASC? So a lot of times, if you are a UNISA student, especially if you're unemployed, you sort of feel like there's nothing happening in your life, you're not busy with anything. So what we do is that we will offer you an opportunity to immerse yourself in a supportive environment where you can truly feel like you are a student in a contact institution. You'll get to connect with a diverse network of fellow students and legal professionals, gain valuable hands-on experience. For instance, now the vacation work. There's so much that you can learn during the vacation work. Yes, different firms, they might be doing things differently. I remember when I did VAC work, at some point I was tasked with drafting a letter. I also learned how to index and paginate. So that's what we offer, and one of the reasons why you should join us. Remember that this is also an extracurricular. So you're not just a UNISA student studying, but you're also involved. You're also a member of BLASC. You're doing something. There's something that you're gaining. In conclusion, by becoming a member, I can assure you that you'll gain personal growth and also gain professional development. My last slide, please. So if you would like to know more, you can send us an email at BLASC Florida. My last slide, please. Yes, you can send us an email at BLASCFlorida@gmail.com, or you can follow us on social media at UNISA_BLASC_Florida on Instagram. You can also follow us on TikTok. We are on TikTok. We know that LinkedIn is a thing now. We are working on having a LinkedIn account, and that will be the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Palafala. Your presentation is highly appreciated. And let's keep the torch burning. Let's see if there are any questions for you, ma'am, on the floor. Guys, I can't see the hands. Help me here, Chloe. Do you see any hands, Gloria? Hello?
Just a second. Yes, there is a hand from Mobile.
Mobile. Okay, let's unmute Mobile so Mobile can ask the question.
Okay, Mnobis, you've got a few hands. I don't know how
Okay.
many hands are you going to take?
It'll depend on time because we have like 8 minutes, so it's probably gonna be a lot.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, is Mobile unmuted now?
Okay, I think the colleagues are assisting with locating Mobile. Okay, in the meantime, can you take Olwetu?
Okay, Olwetu.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Olwetu. Yes, ma'am. The floor is yours. You can ask your question.
Oh, sorry, my network was unstable at the beginning of your presentation. So I just wanted to ask, I'm doing BA in forensic science. Am I able to join BLACs?
Okay. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your question. Ms. Palafala? Tepi? I think maybe Ms. Palafala is having network issues. Let's just give her a moment. Ms. Palafala? Okay, from the way things stand, I think Ms. Palafala is experiencing technical glitches because I can see her here, but no audio from her side. What I can suggest is, guys, if you can just pose those questions on the chat box, as soon as she gets back, she'll be able to respond to you. I hope that's okay. By show of just maybe one thumbs up so we can continue with the program, if everyone is fine with that suggestion. Thank you very much. Okay.
Apologies, Monabisi. If
Yes.
I may request that the students, please, can they all lower their hands, because we have over 20 hands that are raised. So we don't know whether these hands are historical or not. If they can just lower all their hands, they will raise their hands after a presentation.
Thank you very much, Chloe. I think that was loud and clear. Everyone heard that. Thank you, Chloe. Guys, let us do as our technical director is requesting. Let us please lower our hands at the moment. Then obviously you will raise them as soon as the presenter is done with their presentation. Because now it's creating a confusion because there's a lot of hands, we don't know who's who. Okay, I believe that is noted. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. As we continue with our program, our next speaker will be talking about the topic of technology and law. She is Ms. Lerato Mlambo. Let us afford Ms. Mlambo the opportunity to get on the platform and start with the presentation. Ms. Mlambo, are you available for us?
I'm on RBC. Yes, I'm available.
Perfect. Thank you very much, ma'am. Good morning to you and enjoy. Thank you.
Okay, so morning to everyone that is on the call. It's lovely to, be here and just kind of talk about, technology, the alternative legal services, and the law. I'm going to perhaps start sharing my screen. Ooh. Morabisi, can you confirm if you can see my presentation, please?
It's perfect. Yes, we can see it, ma'am.
Okay, great. So just to jump straight into it and to give everyone a bit of a brief background about my career, I did my LLB with UKZN. And then after that, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to be in practice. And so I did my PLT just to kind of get a feel of, what it is I'm, potentially going into. I then did my articles at a litigation, commercial, and information communications technology firm. So that kind of was like my first introduction into the technology space. I think after being in litigation and once I was admitted, I realized that, litigation and practice isn't necessarily the route that I want to go down. And so I made the switch from, your standard practice to working in the legal technology space. And initially I joined a company called Cognia. So yeah, they were the first company that sort of introduced me to the legal technology solutions and so forth. And I think that, you know, perhaps during the course of this workshop, you may meet somebody from Cognia who will kind of let you know a little bit more about their business model. But I think essentially the aim for people in the technology space or the alternative legal solution space is that the aim is to provide alternative legal services by using technology and kind of transform the way that we provide, you know, the legal service delivery. And again, that's what we do at Briefco. So at the moment, I'm working at Briefco. I am a cost consultant, and Briefco is a legal cost consultancy. And, you know, essentially we again leverage these technology solutions to sort of make things easier for law firms and so forth. So again, if you know anything about the litigation process, it is a process that can take a while from, you know, from getting the instruction to, you know, drafting your pleadings to discovery to trial. It can be a process that takes a long time. And I think once your matter has come to completion and finalization, the last thing that your client wants is to now have to wait. Once they've already received the cost order, of course, they want their 15 to 20% back. And so that's where we come in. We prepare the bill of costs. And we found a hole in the market in that a lot of cost consultancies are paper-based. And so we created this IP that allows us to have a turnaround time of 5 days, as opposed to the usual 2, 3, 4 months that it would take for you to get your bill of costs back. So yeah, I think really that's kind of what these legal tech companies and these alternative, you know, legal service providers really want to do. A lot of us do come from practice and we know what it's like to be on the receiving end of a client. So if we can solve the client's problems with these technology solutions that make the turnaround time or the service a lot more quicker, I think it really is a win-win for, you know, the consumer as well as us. So yeah, I think I'm going to go straight into just a bit of advice for anyone who perhaps wants to be in the legal tech space. I think the most important thing is to network at whatever stage you're in. You know, the last speaker was actually talking about the Black Lawyers Association, and I was actually a part of that as a student as well. And I attended, you know, vacation programs. We did a vacation program with the Department of Justice, and you get to, you know, meet people at the level that you're at. And I think that's really good. If you are interested in tech, there's also something called the South African Legal Technology Network. And they throw these yearly events, Durban, Cape Town, Joburg. And at these events, you don't meet people who are just working in the legal technology space, but you're also meeting magistrates, judges, in-house counsel. You're meeting candidate attorneys, senior associates, literally everyone who is a legal professional. And I think you have these conversations with people, you realize that there's so much more to law and just tech as well, as opposed to, you know, just being in the partner track and what we're usually taught. So if you are interested in being in an alternative space, I think these networking events are a great start. And then yeah, secondly, just to always hone your soft skills. I think that it's a great thing to have your skills transferable. Just as an example for me, I started in litigation, and obviously being in courts on a daily basis and arguing matters in front of a magistrate, those skills are now transferable as a cost consultant working in the tech space, because, you know, I have to negotiate settlements, I have to argue taxations, I have to draft these bill of costs, and I need to know what the litigation process is like. So that's, I think that's very important. And then just lastly, you know, I of course don't know how everybody's careers will end up, but if you are interested in the legal tech space, don't be afraid to like kind of change things. You don't always have to be in attorney. You don't always have to go into the advocacy route. There's a lot of opportunities for legal professionals, and tech is one of them. The South African Legal Technology Network also recently launched these EdTech courses, which provide legal professionals with tools and knowledge for the space. So I think if you are interested in that, you can always take a look at it. And yeah, that's all I have for today. And I suppose just in closing, I think, as legal technology companies or as alternative legal service providers such as, Briefco, Cognia, Exigent, Radiant Law, all of us, we have these intelligent services that we use. And the aim is always to just leverage these kind of technologies and make it beneficial for your traditional law firm, your banking institution, and just to make an impact in practice, and I really hope that, the space, specifically the technology space, it grows, because it's not the same as it was 2 years ago, probably won't be the same in 5 years. So yeah, thank you for listening to me. I'll stop sharing my screen now.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mlambo. That was short and sweet and straight to the point. Let's see if we have any questions. Okay, I see them. We have Tibelo Musela. Tibelo Musela, just give us a moment so we can unmute you. Then you can pose your question to Ms. Mlambo. Yes, you can unmute yourself, Tibelo.
Yes, good day, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good morning, Tibelo. The floor is yours, Mania.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much, Chair. I actually have one question for Ms. Mlambo. And Ms. Mlambo, first of all, thank you for your presentation. It was very informative. Ms. Mlambo, can you please explain to me, like, with Briefco, do you have solutions like whereby, like you have your Juta law, your SAFLI, like the South African legal institution, whereby you can find a case law or find certain acts on their websites? Does Briefco have like a solution of that sort, whereby like you can actually, like, where things are made simple in case you want to find legislation, in case you want to find case law? Is there such a solution in Briefco? Thank you.
So thank you, Debula, for your question. At this point, we don't. I think, like I said earlier, I think the technology space is a space that's, it's growing, but we don't have, everything, in place just yet. Obviously, there's things like ChatGPT and stuff like that that are progressing, but at this stage, we are still using those solutions as well, such as SAFLI, to find whatever resources that we are looking for. But you never know what's going to happen in the next few years. Hopefully, we'll have that as well.
Oh, thank you for your response, ma'am. I can see a thumbs up from Tibelo, meaning he's satisfied with the response. Let's move to the second question. We have Jay Roberts. Jay Roberts, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you. The floor is yours. You
Okay.
can ask your question.
Perfect, thank you. I think my question might be still in line with the other question, but I just wanted to find out, especially with Cognia law, have you noticed, perhaps in Briefco as well, have you noticed with the rise of AI, has there perhaps been like a change in the law profession where there might be retrenches, or like they rely less on human capabilities in the workspace? Have you perhaps noticed a change since, I mean, when you were doing your LLB, it was like 2019, I think, or around about that time. So AI was not obviously it wasn't prevalent then. Have you noticed that reliance in the workspace and them not employing more people because of this new rise in AI technology?
Thank you. Yeah, perfect. It makes sense, Ms. Roberts. I think, I don't think firstly AI will be replacing attorneys. I think that there will always be a space for attorneys, and we will always need human intelligence. I think the purpose of just the technology and the AI space growing is to make things a lot easier. For instance, with e-discovery, discovery usually is a process that takes, a long time. You have to index, you have to paginate, you have to see if a document is relevant. And so what e-discovery, for instance, does, having that solution, it just makes the discovery process from 2 weeks just to maybe about 3-4 days. So I don't think I've seen any reduction in appointments of attorneys and so forth. I still think that people are important, and the way that people think and have opinions are important. And so I haven't really seen any sort of reduction in retrenchments or anything of that sort in this space.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for responding to the question, Ms. Mlambo. Now let's go to Ontatile Patience Mohale. You're unmuted. You can ask your question, Ontatile. Okay, I don't think Ontatile is available now. Then we can just move to US Biela.
Everyone, I hope you all can hear me.
Yes, we can, Ms. Biela. You can ask your question now.
Okay, Ms. Lerato, since you started off at law school, then you went on and did your PLT, and then you also went on to do your to go to another company, to Cogna, I think, after that. So as an LLB final year student, I'm just wondering, are there ever internships available within the technology and law space for LLB students straight out of varsity, so that they can get some sort of knowledge of what actually happens within that work environment? Or do they actually even like it, or do they want to go the normal route with regards to the legal career?
Yeah, so there's definitely internships. When I was at Cognia, like I said, I do believe somebody from Cognia is going to be speaking to you guys tomorrow, so maybe they can tell you a little bit more. But when I was at Cognia, there was a student vacation program for people who have just done their LLB, or perhaps people who maybe want to do their masters, but they're not really sure, where they stand at the moment. You didn't have to be an admitted attorney to work in the legal space, and there was a vacation program. So I think if you go on their website, you will find something. Similarly, with Briefco, we had an internship with 3 students last year who had just finished their LLB, who hadn't found articles. So it's just about doing your research and finding those opportunities. But there are opportunities even if you are coming straight from your LLB.
One last question again. So then let's say I do not secure internships, and I don't plan on pursuing my PLT or with regards to actually going to practicals. So then what masters or what postgraduate studies would you recommend one should take if they want to pursue a career within technology law?
So, like I said earlier, the South African Legal Technology Network, if you Google them, you will find that they recently launched this course. I think they launched it about 2-3 months ago. I'm not sure what the price is, but it kind of gives you an introduction into the technology space, and just to kind of see if that's what you want to do. There are courses out there, perhaps with UCT as well, some short courses. I think those will give you, a bit of insights if that's kind of the thing that you would like to do in the future.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mlambo. Here's another go. I can see that Ontatile is back with us. Ontatile?
Oh yeah, thank you for accepting me, Chair. I was about to ask the same question. I just wanted to know if Briefco does a job shadowing and article. So Mrs. Lerato just answered that. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for that, Ontatile. Okay, let us move to Utemba Mbelengwa. Temba?
Good morning. I have somewhat two questions. I would like to know what skills should law students, recent graduates, and legal professionals develop to effectively leverage legal tech in in practice, and what do you see as the most promising trends in legal tech over the next 5 to 10 years, and how might these trends influence the roles and responsibilities of legal professionals in the future? Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat your first question and then I'll answer that? Sorry, can you repeat that again for me, please?
Okay. So the first question was, what skills should law students, candidate legal professionals, and recent graduates should develop to effectively leverage legal tech?
Yeah. So in this space, you can be, you know, appointed without having any specific set of skills because again, this is a space that is growing. So a lot of these internships aren't looking for anything specific from what I know anyway and from my experience. You are hired straight from your LLB and they will upskill you, they will teach you what it is that, you know, they kind of want you to do. And so you'll get experience there. So there isn't anything specific that you need to know coming from, you know, doing your LLB. And I don't think not having any tech experience will be a disadvantage to you. I hope that that answers that.
Okay, yes, it does. Thank you very much. So the second question was, are there or what do you see as the most promising trends in legal tech over the next 5 to 10 years, and how might these trends influence the roles and responsibilities of legal professionals in the future? Thank you.
Yeah, look, Temba, I don't know what the space is going to look like in 5 to 10 years. I suppose, you know, for the most part, all of us will still have jobs. Like somebody asked earlier, if it's going to affect if anybody's going to be retrenched and so forth. I think that we'll still all have, you know, a space in the market, but I can't answer how the space is going to be in 5 to 10 years.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm actually excited about this thing. As you were presenting, I was jumping up and down. So, just one last follow-up questions. Are there specific tools or platforms that are essential for us who are interested in legal tech to tap into? Thank you. Thank you very much.
No, there's nothing specific, but obviously if anyone wants to know like any courses they can upskill in or anything specific that they want to know in terms of upskilling yourself and getting that knowledge, you can always send me an email and I can help you, you know, with kind of finding that information.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for that, guys. I think now we are about to take our last question from Umukibela Patrick Ndlovu. Patrick, are you still here? Okay, Patrick doesn't seem to be available at the moment. Let's go to Ohomojo Geoffrey Langa. Ohomojo. Hey, guys seem to be disappearing on me. Okay, let's go back and see any other hands.
Go back there.
Okay, we have Udineo Bantseke. Let me unmute you, Dineo. Hello, Dineo.
Hello, I'm here. Patrick is here now.
Oh, okay. Yes, you can ask your question, Patrick. Good morning.
Yeah, no, good morning to you. This is exciting. First of all, I think a number of questions has been answered for me. I'm excited and delighted on that. But the last thing that I just wanted to ask, I've heard Lerato saying they are going to open up in Pretoria soon. So my interest is how soon is soon that they will be coming to Pretoria, because I'm a resident here in Pretoria, but I'm very excited about the whole process. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Ndlovu. Perhaps in the next few months, we do have an office in Joburg. If you are perhaps in that side, in the Gauteng area, and you are looking for opportunities, I don't think I said my email earlier, but it is lerato@briefco.co.za. And if you are looking for opportunities in the Gauteng, Durban areas and so forth, we are opening offices soon in those areas. So you can always send me an email, and perhaps once those opportunities arise, we can, get in contact further.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lerato.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Ms. Mlambo, we still have about, let me see, 2 questions. 2 minutes. Can I just take one question?
Yes, we can do one final question.
One final question. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Let's see. Charles, Dr. Nkabinde. Charles Nkabinde, hello. Charles? Okay, I can't see you, Charles. Let's see. There's
Good morning.
Yes. Hello, Charles.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, we can, Charles.
Thank you very much. The presentation, well presented. One of the questions, ma'am, can you please just clarify some of the most challenges that you have encountered so far at your work? Thank you very much.
Sorry, you were cutting a little bit, but Monabisi, can you just confirm if it was asking the challenges that I've encountered?
Correct, yes.
Oh, okay. So thank you for your question. I think, perhaps some of the challenges I've encountered would be just making the shift from the legal tech space from litigation to the tech space, is that you're going to sort of a startup that has its own challenges, that you're presenting these ideas to, law firms. They won't always work. They won't always be successful. So I think sometimes that's where the challenge is, where sometimes you feel like a CA again. You don't really know what the best route is, but it's really just a learning curve. I will say for the most part, I haven't had a lot of challenges, because my transition from being in a litigation firm straight into a tech space where a lot of my work takes me to court still, where, I'm drafting these bills and I'm arguing these taxations. It has been a bit of a seamless transition for the most part, because it was a lot of transfer of the same skill sets. So I suppose I've been a little bit lucky.
Charles, are you satisfied with that response? I think Charles is having difficulties with his line. His line is quite bad. And it's flashing now. I think he's talking.
No,
we can't hear what he's saying. Charles?
Thank you very much. I'm thankful for the questions and answers. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, Charles. Ms. Mlambo, thank you for entertaining us. All our questions and doing that lovely presentation. You've shared a lot of information that was needed by a lot of our students. Your presentation was quite informative, and the question and answer sessions, very informative as well. Guys, unfortunately, I need to cut this off now. We can't take any more questions for Ms. Mlambo on the platform. However, you can still go to our chat box and send a text there and ask any question or make any comment regarding her presentation. Ms. Mlambo, thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Marabisi, and thank you for everyone for listening. I wish everyone the best in their careers. And if you still have any questions, my email is lerato@briefco, and I'm, open to any more questions.
Thank you very
Cheers,
much.
guys.
Thank you. Bye. Guys, as we continue with our program, now we'll be going to Ms. Andisiwe Sipamla from ENS Africa. ENS Africa is a law firm. Ms. Sipamla will be telling us exactly what they do as a law firm. And let me see if she is on the platform. Ms. Sipamla, are you here?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Thank you very much. You can start with your presentation. The floor is yours.
May I just briefly introduce myself?
Please do.
Unlike the other speakers who came before me, my presentation does not contain any pictures. It's rather conspicuously yellow, so I thought I should just put the face to the name. My name is Andisiwe Sipamla. I am an attorney in disputes resolution at ENS. Just to give a brief bio, I got admitted in 2020. I graduated from the University of the Western Cape in 2017. And thereafter, I did my articles at Bowman's 2018-2019. From there onwards, I clerked at the Constitutional Court for a year and a half for Justice Majid. Thereafter, I went to study for my LLM studies in international human rights law at the University of Notre Dame, which is in Indiana, Notre Dame. And during my time there, I had a short stint as a research assistant for the Venice Commission, which is a legal advisory body for the Council of Europe, which is part of the EU, which explore constitutional questions, constitutional developments in the EU countries as well as outside, as well as other jurisdictions. And I've since been at ENS in disputes resolution, and we do mainly arbitrations, litigation, and legal advisory work. So I'll switch off my camera and then move over to the presentation. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Just a second. Is this? Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can, ma'am.
Sure. Is it visible enough?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Sure. Great. No. Is it not? Oh, sure.
Yes,
it is.
Just to be clear, ENS has gone through a rebranding last year, and so we're no longer ENS Africa, but we are ENS. We've removed the reference to Africa. Our footprint in the continent is still relatively the same. We just removed the Africa on the name for purposes of expanding in other jurisdictions in future. And so we thought that it may be limiting from a brand perspective to have the Africa linked to the ENS if, for instance, we expand to the Middle East or to Asia. Just a brief introduction on the law firm itself. It's one of the big law firms in the country and continentally. And some of the work that we do is in the energy and mining infrastructure. We have construction, environmental regulation, mine and occupational health safety. Then there's a commercial dispute resolution, which takes form in the part of litigation arbitrations, which includes competition law, insolvency, IP, and forensics. And then we have the normal, usual corporate commercial practice, which is transactional work, M&A. And then there's a financing for purposes of projects, for purposes of property development, and just general debt financing. My task that I was given by UNISA was rather short, and so I'd like to not take much time. The question that I was given was, what attributes does the company look for in candidates, and what opportunities are available for them? And this is a short question. From a university student perspective, I think what we generally look for are high-performing individuals. And by that, we're not only looking for students that can achieve straight A's or who have a high, overall average, but you must be someone with a solid, academic performance, and you must also display that you are a well-rounded person who can, who's not just limited to just cracking the work in terms of reading and just getting the marks, but whether you are well-rounded, are you integrated, you're integrated into your broader community, are you do you have involvement in, societies, we're just looking for a overall well-rounded lawyer who can, at least at the very bare minimum, do the job in terms of academic performance, but someone who's also able to integrate within the people and be able to work with people, and who is, agile and has a deep knowledge of law and analytical skills. And I think I must also just pause to mention that it's important, if you think of coming into the space, to not just be passionate about the law, but to be passionate about corporate law. And to the extent that you don't have a full understanding of what that looks like, you must at least be open to learning and willing to learn once you come into the space. And the attributes that we look for are not different from any other law firm size that you'd consider. We look for people that are diligent and can apply themselves. And I think one of the things that come into mind, especially with the students who come in for work, is at all times when you're given a task, you must know why you are doing what you're doing. I think that is very important because it translates to the work that you put out there once you're done. And general standards of productivity, you must be efficient in how you do your work. At least you must have basic research skills, and people skills are very important as well, in terms of knowing how to interact with your colleagues, how to interact with the bigger team, how to interact with clients. You'll find that while I'm in disputes resolution, I've done different types of matters. I've done tax-related matters. I've done mining occupational health matters. I've done mining. We do gambling. And some of the instructions that we get from client are in respect of areas that are not part of our speciality. But if you now lack the people skills, it would be different for you to go to a different floor within the office to ask questions or to engage with other lawyers who would have that speciality, who would, assist you in terms of understanding the scope of work that is required from a dispute resolution perspective and how you can better assist client. So I think overall, whether you go to ENS or whether you go to a smaller law firm, whether you go to medium-sized law firm, it's very important to have people skills internally within the team, but externally as well. And you also find that within the bigger profession, there'll be other people that are not part of the organization, but that are outside who have these skills. And so it's very important to just be integrated with the people and know who to go to for what. And yeah. Another thing is that we look for generally is administration skills. And this is important in practice. It doesn't matter whether you're an attorney, whether you're an advocate, whether you're a judge. It's very important that your administration skill is on point at all times. It sometimes can be a maker or breaker of the practice itself. And especially talking to the students, especially looking at it from a point of being a CLP, as they call it these days, one of the things that you must constantly be thinking about is how can I best assist you? CAs are meant there to be, they're meant to be the anchors of the practice. And I know that they get pulled in different directions, but at all times, you must always remember or must always ask yourself the question of how can I best assist you? And yeah, and remember that we all can do the job. I think we're all, equally smart. We can all, do the job from a technicality point of view. But sometimes what sets us apart is our willingness to go above and beyond and just being there for the team when they need you. And one of the other things, especially if you come into a corporate practice of whatever size, is you must have a commercial understanding and of a commercial understanding of the business of law. And by that we mean you must understand who your client is, what they're trying to, what objectives they're trying to achieve by coming to you, and the questions that they have or the instructions and mandates that they have for you might not be clear sometimes, but you must be able to understand and be able to identify from a point of law what their issue is and what they need assistance with. And at all times, you must also be trying to think about how to best save, money, and how you can be efficient in the legal advice that you give, and how to not prolong litigation. We also find a lot of attorneys who bring vexatious claims and in respect of issues that could have been dealt with in arbitration or through mediation, or maybe through settlement, and would have just been resolved without resorting to court and taking, using so much money towards litigation and taking up a lot of court's time. And yeah. In terms of what opportunities are available, I think everyone knows we do have a winter and a summer vacation program. We just finished the winter vacation program last week. And from an expectations point of view, once you apply and have been given the opportunity to come and do vacation work with us, you will be given written assignments. You will be allocated in a department. Usually, VEC students are allocated to a dispute resolution department for 1 week, and then for the next week it would be a commercial, but it's dependent on you and what your preferences are. And part of the vacation work program involves a moot program where you are given a case study in either disputes or competition, and then you have a moot, and the directors will be sitting in and as you presiding as the judges and asking you questions. And then once you're done with that, then it will be the final interview for articles. Just to put it out there, when you are offered articles and you accept, ENS does not have a rotation system. So if you are placed in dispute resolution, you'll be in dispute resolutions for 2 years. However, before you are placed for purposes of articles, we do inquire about your preferences. And at this point, it's also very important, before you indicate what your preferences are, that you are aware of what your interests are in law. And luckily, in our time, we also have LinkedIn as an avenue or a platform from which to gather information, to know who does what where. And you can follow the different legal professionals, understand who they are, what their practices entail, and from there then you can make an informed decision as to what you would like, which department you'd like to be placed in when you start articles. But that does not mean that if you are in one department and you decide it's not for you, you can't pivot to another. You can always raise your hand, but depending on capacity and what the business needs are, then you may be moved. We'd also do offer bursaries, but these bursaries are normally offered to students that have been offered articles and who have accepted. So most of the people that I know from here, they were signed as second-year students or third-year law students, and then from their own onwards, they were provided with a bursary to sort of make the rest of their LLB a bit more comfortable before they start articles. And so this, as I explained, these are the current openings that we have. We are open for the summer vacation programs in both our Cape Town office and the Joburg office. And we're also open for candidate legal practitioner programs for 2025, both Joburg and Cape Town. I'll share the presentation so that you guys can have it at your own spare time. But once you apply, you put in your cover letter, your CV, your transcript, matric certificate, all the relevant documents. We don't prioritize reference letters when you apply for vacation work or for articles, because you understand sometimes that it takes a while for a candidate to coordinate the different referees to write the testimonials. So that's optional. If you want to submit it, you may submit it, but once we request it, it should be available. And you can follow us on our social media accounts. We do have presence on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And that is all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for a lovely presentation and for the opportunities that your organization is making available to our students. Guys, I hope you'll take advantage of this and forward your applications. Let's see if there are any questions before I let you go, Ms. Pamela.
Thank you.
Let's see, hands, okay. We have Uzizipho Sihle Mbunjana. Let me unmute Uzizipho. Zizipo, yes, you can also unmute on your side and pose the question. Hello, Zizipo. Zizipo?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now
Yes,
we can.
hear.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, what year would you recommend that we begin applying for vacation work? Because I'm in my first year, second semester, and currently I don't feel like I have enough knowledge or I know enough to gain like a meaningful experience for vac work. So when would you recommend is the most ideal year to start applying?
I think the sooner the better. Candidates are measured. Candidates for purposes of VAC work are also measured based on the level that they are in. And so you wouldn't be prejudiced by applying now. I know some of my friends got offered articles in first year. So, you know, starting now makes it easy for you once you apply during your second year, your third year, at the different places. By then you're already familiar with the process. And so I'm an advocate for giving yourself as many opportunities as possible to try and crack it down, understanding what is expected of you during a VAC work program from a performance perspective. So I would say apply now. Don't wait until next year, because it's also quite competitive. So just apply now, apply next year, the year after, just keep on applying. It's also great to do something during the school holiday, I find. And some of these places also pay you for the duration of the VAC work. So it's never a bad idea to make money out of it as well.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the response. Let's go to Lisedi. Lisedi, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Lisedi?
I think we can move on to the next person.
Yeah, okay. Let's go to Utobile Mtwana. Utobile Mtwana? Utobile? Okay, no response from Utobile. Let's go to Roy. Roy will probably be the last one. Roy, hello? Okay, Roy doesn't seem to be responsive as well. I also have Ulindu Tando Buhle.
No, Tobile is here now, I think.
Tobile, yes, Tobile. Yes, you can ask your question, ma'am.
Thank you. You're finding it difficult to unmute. My question is this opportunity only available to like LLB students and graduates? But if you like have a diploma in law, are you also like, I don't know, like, can you also take part on these opportunities, or do you have to be like an LLB graduate or student? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. The opportunities are available for students as well as BCom law students. And the reason being, we are a practice. And so ideally, once you join in, you should become a legal practitioner. So whoever qualifies to become a legal practitioner, as defined in the LPA Act, qualifies to apply for this.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tawili.
Mr. Pamela, thank you for availing yourselves for these question and answer session. Unfortunately, guys, because of time, we have to continue with the program and let Ms. Pamela go. However, if you still need to pose questions to Ms. Pamela, you can actually send them on the chat box. She is available to respond to you.
May I say thank you so much for inviting me to participate in this event. You need not necessarily send a text on the chat because there's a lot of chats that are coming in from many people. Some of them are the same. I'm also available on LinkedIn, and you see Mr. Pamela, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I always make time for people, at least I believe. Yeah. And just remember that it's also okay to change, because I'm also seeing a lot of texts from people asking questions, you know, about money and when do you start settling. It's important. It's important to know that we have time, and that it's okay to change in between the various, you know, spaces or types of practices over time. And it's also not a bad idea to make your way into the legal practice. Some people have done that, and they've also come right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the lovely advice as well. So guys, you heard Mrs. Pamela. See, she is available on LinkedIn. Yes, you can look her up and engage with her. Before we actually continue with our program, guys, I have to love and leave you on this platform at the moment. I am being joined by one of my lovely colleagues, Ms. Tebagano Mogatle from the VAL. She'll be taking on the baton and continuing with the program until its conclusion. Now, thank you for your time and the respect that you showed us so far. Let us keep that going. The program is not over. I'm just shifting and making space for my colleague to continue with the workshop. Guys, please help me welcome Ms. Tebagano Mogatle, who is my core program director for the day, who will be taking over from me. Tebagano, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. May. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tebagano, protocol observed. Am I audible enough? Can I please get a thumbs up on that?
Yes.
I'm audible.
Yes,
okay,
you are.
Thank you. So as Mr. Thank you. As Mr. May stated, I will be with you from now until the very end. Now, without further ado, I would like to call upon our next speaker, Ms. Joanne Anthony Gooden, who will be talking about the role of Law Society of South Africa. Let me just confirm if she is with us today. Ms. Gooden? Ms. Gooden, are you here? Komoto, is she?
It seems she's here.
Oh, it seems she's here. Okay, over to you then, Ms. Gooden.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm not sure, we do have a presentation that should be shared with you, or do you want me to share it from my side?
Please share it from your side.
Must I share it from my side? Not a problem. I can do that. Oh goodness. Now, of course, oh, there we go. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm having a technological error here. Are you able to see my screen now?
From my side, not yet. I don't know from others, but I will keep a lookout.
Okay, hold on. Let's try again. You should be able to see it now. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Joanne Anthony Gooden, and I'm the president of the Law Society of South Africa. It really is great for us to be partnering with the university to be able to assist and to guide young lawyers and students about where we are at moving forward. We often get a lot of questions about what is the Law Society of South Africa. It serves as the voice of the attorney's profession, and it represents and promotes the rights of attorneys in all matters affecting the legal profession. It also protects and grows the professional services of attorneys and identifies and serves the common interests of attorneys. And for those of you that may not be aware of this, the LSSA calls together attorneys from throughout South Africa. And in fact, I'm based in the Eastern Cape province. I'm a litigation attorney. I'm a practicing family lawyer. That is my field of expertise. And I have been practicing in Port Elizabeth since 1997. So in the Eastern Cape, we have a provincial association. We also have provincial associations throughout the other provinces as well. And all of the students and all young attorneys are always encouraged to get involved with the local associations, whether it's your local circle in your town, then hooking up with your provincial association. These are all very important to be part of. But the LSSA brings together the Black Lawyers Association, which you've heard about earlier today, the National Association of Democratic Lawyers, and the independent attorneys. The LSSA was established in 1998 as a voluntary association. We have perpetual succession, and we changed our constitution in 2018 to be a members' interest organization with an extended mandate, which includes the establishment of provincial associations in all 9 provinces, with a focus on transforming the profession and acting in the interest of both the profession and society. So what exactly do we do for you as our member? Well, very importantly, you would all have heard the term LEAD. You would know our logo, Legal Education and Development. You know that when you're doing your articles and your admissions, you would have to do your practical training, and you do that with your through your articles through the Legal Education and Development Program. We continue to be the premier provider of affordable quality vocational training and professional development to all legal practitioners and candidate legal practitioners and support staff for legal firms. So even though you may have completed your PVT and you've done your practical legal training, as you know, being a lawyer, your education continues on a daily basis where you need to learn something every day to be kept abreast of developments. We've heard about AI earlier today, and you are very aware that every day there is an advance in the legal community and the legal landscape. So if we look at the Legal Education and Development Framework, you have the School for Legal Practice, which is your PVT. The core function of these schools is to provide practical vocational trained skills transfer to current and aspirant candidate legal practitioners. We have a School for Legal Practice offering intensified training in the 9 schools around the country. And of course, we have the compulsory courses for our candidate attorneys, which is PVT, also a part of the PVT. And this supplements your training provided by law firms in the knowledge and skills required. There are 12 centers in the country, and we have 8 law firms offering in-house practical PVT. Then you have the mandatory practice management training, and the objectives of this course is to provide legal practitioners with the necessary skills to manage your law firms efficiently on a sustainable basis. Then moving along to what sort of services we offer seminars. We educate the legal fraternity on any changes, amendments, and updates or introductions of any new laws. This applies to ongoing legislation, litigation, and case law. We also have an e-leader program where we offer a wide range of online courses to legal practitioners, candidate legal practitioners, and support staff. And then, as you know, we also have the distance education on the variety of topics, including conveyancing, notarial practice, as well as estates, corporate law, insolvency, and mediation. Then we have a business development unit. What does our business development unit do? It offers a range of law and office administration courses to support staff and legal practitioners. That's to assist you to train your staff in exactly how to run your business and your law firm. We offer NQF aligned skills programs. We can assist you to generate income through accredited training programs, and we support law firms by sourcing funds for candidacy and internship programs. And we actively also participate in the development of the occupational qualifications. For those of you that do not know what the Dayrabus is, please join us on our social media chats. We have a WhatsApp channel. We also have we're an online legal journal, and we seek to provide leadership to the profession and keep legal practitioners abreast of professional developments. Before, it used to be a printed journal that used to be posted to every legal practitioner, but we now have it as an online, and it's on our website. It's a free service to candidate legal practitioners, very valuable. You can place your CVs on our website, and prospective employers will then be able to contact you directly. We also publish numerous articles written by students and candidate legal practitioners, and we encourage students and candidates to send through their articles on topical issues that affect the profession. So please, for those of you that haven't even read the Dayrabus yet, you are invited to do so. We would love to hear from you. Then, where can you find us? Please visit our websites. You are welcome to visit the website of lssa.org.za or lssalead.org.za or the Dayrabus. So for any of you that have any questions about what we can do for you at the LSSA through our professional affairs platform, our legal education and development platform, as well as the Dayrabus, I welcome the opportunity to take any questions at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Gooden. Do we have any questions from your side, students? Let me see.
I see there's a hand from Charles, Dr. and
I'm trying to find the questions.
Can I assist you and give you the floor, sir? Would you like to ask a question?
I'm seeing a hand up from Matri Chen Smith.
You have the floor.
Oh, Marie Chen Smith, sorry.
Ayanda Menemene, do you have a question for me? Lesedi? Ungelwa? Mr. Manonga? Sabela Gordon? Oh, they're saying that they need to be unmuted.
Let me try to find another question.
Okay.
Oh, Khomoso, I can't see like. It seems I am not finding questions here. I'm still looking though.
Not a problem. There's a question from.
I also agree.
Please unmute us, Chairperson. Sabelo is saying that they have got questions. Just give us a second, ladies and gentlemen. We're just having a technical glitch to unmute you.
I have a question and I can unmute myself.
Thank you. Please, I'll gladly assist. Please ask your question, sir.
Okay. I don't know if I will be too much out of line or not relevant to what you are discussing. So I am a fourth-year student. I also I'm a social worker. I've been doing social work for the past 10 years or more. However, I want to become a practicing attorney. My challenge right now is, do I quit my job and go and do articles, or is there another miraculous ways to go about it?
That's a very good question. And remember, that is a question that you would have to address with the Legal Practice Council. When you register your PVT contract of articles, you have to specifically indicate that you are not going to earn any other source of income directly or indirectly for the duration of your contract. So the question then is the LPC going to give you permission to continue to be a social worker if it's going to interfere with your job? And normally they deal with those kind of applications separately on the merits. That's a legal practice council issue, not an LSSA issue. And the question is, you know, should you abandon your law career and carry on being a social worker? Well, you've put a lot of time and effort into getting through 4 years of law. And if you are passionate and committed, unfortunately, the only way to enter the gate is to do your articles. So you will have to overcome that hurdle in one way or another, because I think it would be fantastic to have a qualification as a social worker together with being a practicing attorney. Thank you. Any other questions?
Hi, my name is Melanie. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
I can hear you, Melanie. Thank you. Go ahead.
I've completed my LLB and then I've done the PVT through another avenue, that's advocacy. If I want to do the PVT.
Any other questions? I'm seeing a hand from Amanda.
Sorry, am I heard?
We've got Melanie talking at the moment.
So if I've done my PVTs and I'm waiting for my results for advocacy, if I want to do the PV, I think it's PLT for attorneys, would I have to do the whole course again, or is there aspects that I should do?
Again, that's a question for the Legal Practice Council, and I'm from the Law Society of South Africa. With regards to the requirements, you, in all likelihood, you may get some remission from them regarding having done advocacy, but that is a question for the director of the Legal Practice Council in your province. So I suggest if you go onto the LPC website, it's www.lpc.org.za. You can get all the contact particulars of the director for your province, and you can address an email to that person that is head of professional affairs. They should be able to answer that question.
I hear you. I just wanted to know if there were, in terms of if I had to have separate modules that I could do with the with LEAD that would convert it that way.
You must remember that the LPC is the regulator, and they dictate the manner in which the courses are presented and how they must be put together. The LSSA is the facilitator of the education arm for members. We are not prescribing. We are not the prescribers of what has to be part of each component. The only person that would be able to give you any advice or give you condemnation regarding having done advocacy and wanting to convert it would be the Legal Practice Council. So the LSSA facilitates the availability of those classes, but we can't say to you which ones would be acceptable to the LPC. That is an LPC issue. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, can you hear me? My name is Dion Baloy.
Yes, Dion, I can hear you clearly. Go ahead.
Oh, all right, thanks. No, I wanted a clarity between the Law Society of South Africa and Legal Practice Council, because I was having a problem of differentiating them. So I was going to ask questions that are irrelevant, that are aimed to be dealt with by the regulator. So you have clarified my confusion with regards to that you guys are facilitators. In as much as I might want to know more regarding the Law Society of South Africa, where can I go just to get a clear understanding so that I can further differentiate you guys and the Legal Practice Council, because I might one day need to sit in one of your boards if you have board where we meet and discuss these things that you were just talking about. So we're trotting slowly but surely. We just need to understand so that we can at least assist in innovation, actually, because some of us come from backgrounds where a lot of things are happening that we see that it needs to be regulated. So thanks for that clarity of saying facilitator and a regulator. I think, yeah, it have paved a very strong. Actually, they've made me to understand where I am now. But yeah, in terms of articles, you guys are providing schools and all those other things. And then the regulator prescribes what the requirements are. So I'm covered actually.
All right. Well, Dion, you actually raised a very important point, and I'd like to just piggyback on your point by saying the following. What are the difference in the functions between the LSSA and the LPC? And I think that's very important that as a young legal practitioner that you understand the different roles that we play. The Legal Practice Council represents public interests. It has a representative function, which is exercised primarily in the interest of the members of the profession. The Law Society of South Africa, we are the voice of the profession. The Legal Practice Council regulates, whereas the Law Society of South Africa, we do assessments for entry to the profession as per our objectives. We uphold and encourage the practice of law, and we promote and facilitate access to the profession. If one of our legal practitioners is naughty and they transgress the code of conduct and they need to be disciplined, the organization that's going to deal with discipline will be the Legal Practice Council. The Law Society of South Africa, we deal with legal education training, mandatory and PPD in terms of the objectives to uphold and safeguard and advance the rule of law. Both the Legal Practice Council and the Law Society of South Africa dovetail when it comes to transformation in the profession. The Legal Practice Council deals with policies and codes of conduct. We represent practitioners' interests both locally and internationally. The LPC will deal with accreditation of lawyers and monitor that accreditation to see that you have all the right security protocols in place, such as, have you audited your business and trust accounts? Have you got a valid Fidelity Fund certificate? Whereas the Law Society of South Africa, we are the forum for practitioners to gather and deliberate. Then, when it comes to the examinations and assessments, that is still done by the Legal Practice Council. They are a regulatory body, not a representative body. The Law Society of South Africa, on the other hand, we lobby government on crucial issues. We comment on proposals that will affect the profession and society. We publish a digital legal journal. I told you about that earlier, from the Day Rebus. And the Legal Practice Council preserve and uphold the independence of the legal practitioners and the legal profession. So it's important that you understand that that is what the LPC does versus the LSSA. And what makes us relevant as the Law Society of South Africa? Well, we believe, and it is our mission and our vision, to represent the attorney's profession. We safeguard the rule of law via efficient and fair administration of justice. Our vision is to empower attorneys to provide excellent legal services to the community in an ethical, professional, considerate, and competent manner. And we intervene on behalf of the profession with all various stakeholders. We have an influence in legal and other issues that affect the profession and, by extension, the public. You must know that we lobby extensively with entities on behalf of the profession. We are forever submitting proposals with a view to influence legislative and policy decisions, and we will continue to uphold the independence of the profession and enhance and maintain its integrity. So that is where we can assist you with regards to why are we relevant, and to also provide practice-related benefits to attorneys, such as assisting with cybersecurity insurance, compliance guidelines, mental wellness programs, free webinars, brochures, and tutorials. And in the absence of the LSSA, there would be no national representative body for the attorney's profession. So Dion, I think that goes a little bit further to what we were discussing earlier, and I hope that also helps you to understand where the LSSA is placed in the legal framework.
Thank you, Ms. Gooden. Students, I think that will be all the questions for now. If you have more questions, please post them in the chat box. Thank you so much, Ms. Gooden. Thank you for having me. Thank you. We will now be moving over to our next speaker, Mr. Atherton Cooper from Nani Cooper Law Firm. Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper? Mr. Cooper, are you here?
I see he says he cannot unmute himself.
Let me try to do it from my side. Monabisi, can you please assist me with unmuting him? I think that for now, let us move over to the next speaker. We will come back to Mr. Cooper, or how can we do it, Khomozo? Because I'm thinking that we can maybe move on to Ms. New Vote, and then we'll come back to Mr. Cooper. Okay. May we kindly move on to Elizabeth New Vote? Advocate New Vote, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon. Is it morning still? Yes, it's good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Thank you. May you please take on the platform. Ms. New Vote will be talking about litigation, courtwork, and job shadowing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well. I'm sure a lot of you are in your final year or maybe your third year. And I'm sure everybody is asking you, what do you want to do? You know, do you want to become an attorney? Do you want to become an advocate? And I think a lot of people, when they talk about what do you want to do, have this picture in their mind of, you know, the court, of litigating. And then you see that as your end goal. You want to be in a court litigating, representing clients, be it civil work, be it criminal work. But the question is always, is that really what you want to do? Litigation is not for everyone. Remember, there's different kinds of litigation. A lot of the things I think you see on TV and the movies is criminal defense work. And it is not like you see in most of the television programs. It's very unglamorous. The courts that you are appearing in is sometimes far away from a city, and it's a small town somewhere. Those courts are not always the nicest of places to appear in. Sometimes there's no toilets, there's no water. And that's going to be the environment that you are going to appear for your clients. Civil litigation, again, you're representing a client with a specific problem. They come to you. They say, please help me with my problem. And you need to then also have not only the legal knowledge, but also have the people skills. Remember, litigation is not, and it sounds terrible, but it's not clean law. And by what I mean by that is, it's the people come to you, especially if you don't do corporate law. So corporate law is more your contracts, your mergers and acquisitions. So that's more, it's about money. But the other stuff is about people and their problems. They come to you if you want to, because a lot of people, especially school children, if I talk to them, they're all going to, I want to be a family law lawyer. That's messy. People come to you with not only the divorce problems or the problem around the children. Remember, they come to you with the emotional problems, because somebody that is going through a divorce is not going through a divorce because they want to. It's not a happy thing that they're doing. It's a stressful trauma event that they're bringing to you. You're their lawyer. You must not only fix their legal problems, but you must also be that person that is going to be empathetic, that is going to be able to give them support. And I'm not talking about, you know, you're going to sit and cry with them, and that's not what I'm talking about. But you need to have the ability to at least have a sense of warmth, a sense of care, and especially with criminal clients also. Remember, your criminal client might be the one that stole a block of cheese from Checkers because they don't have food. So what did they do? They stole a block of cheese. It is against the law. It's called shoplifting. So what are you going to do with that client? Is that what you want to do? Let's make it more serious. Let's say you get a matter where you want to have to represent somebody that murdered somebody, that raped somebody. Your own issues cannot come into play because you think your client is a certain type of a personality or is a certain person. No, you must look at that client and say, you know what, I care. I want to represent you. I want to help you, because that is what litigation is about. And that is the question you need to ask yourself. Do you see yourself standing in a court? And again, maybe I'm painting a very dark picture, but courts are not nice places. There's cold corridors, it's hard benches, it's long hours. Sometimes you are there at 9 o'clock, but your matter is only heard at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. And you can't hurry things along. You're in the hand of the presiding officer. The other thing about litigation and is in court work is presiding officers are not always nice people. And I'm not I'm not trying to be disrespectful towards magistrates and judges, but they're also just human. And sometimes they get up on the wrong side of the bed and you are in that court that day, or they just have a very unfriendly demeanor in court. And how do you then deal with that? And if you look at that and you think, no, that's not for me, then don't punish yourself and become a litigation lawyer. And I'm sure you're going to ask me now, but how do I now decide that? You know, I'm a law student. How do I know now what if I'm going to like litigation or not? And that's where the job shadowing come in, is to find somebody that you can shadow. And if you can't find somebody, remember, courts are public buildings, and a court room is a public room, except maybe if it's a children's matter, then those courts are usually in camera and you're only allowed to go in if you're involved in the matter. But any criminal court, any civil court is it's a public room. So you can go in and go and sit there and listen and see what they do, see how the system works, see how everybody speaks to each other, see what the lawyers do, see what a prosecutor does, and then learn from that. It is more valuable if you have knowledge of the matters that are in that court. Otherwise, you're just hearing people saying, I confirm a date, and they sit down, or I object to a postponement, or no, my client doesn't want bail, or so it's really more valuable if you can shadow somebody to get a better information about what you are doing. And I know a lot of the bigger firms have intern programs that you can apply for, but also I'm from Legal Aid. You can approach your local office and say, look, I'm here I have a 30-day holiday. Can I maybe please just shadow one of your lawyers going to court for a day or two, so that you really can immerse yourself into that environment and then say, okay, you know, Sharp, this is something I see myself doing for the next 30 years or 20 years, and then make a decision. Also, I know a lot of times people will ask the difference between attorney and advocates, because there is still, even though it has changed a little bit in the past few years, it is still very much an advocate is the one that does the court work. So they are briefed by an attorney to do a specific part of the case. So you'd be it, give me an opinion on merits, draft me a particulars of claim, or just to go to court and do the trial. So the advocate do a little part of the bigger case, where the attorney would be more the one that take on the client, that would do the initial consultations, that will do maybe the letter writing, and then when it comes to the court appearance, give that for the advocate. A lot of attorneys are doing it that themselves, which is, that's their preference. The whole argument between the two professions, and that also will play a role in your decision making, is that the attorney with the trust account has a lot of admin. So it's easier, and the attorney's work is, or the fees are made by writing letters, by consulting. That's how they generate fees. So I know a lot of times the argument was that it's more profitable for the attorney to be in the office and do consultations and letters and things like that than spending 6 hours in the court, because in that 6 hours, there's nobody writing letters and generating fees. So the idea was that also why the two professions split, where the advocate is seen as more the person that appears in court and does the court work, because they would have more time to prepare, to do the research, to do all the reading. So by the time they go to court, and so they have the luxury of really focusing on that case in that moment. And that is how they make their fees. But as I say, through the years, that differentiation has blurred a little bit, because it's become also very expensive. Briefing an advocate, the client has to pay the attorney's fees and the advocate's fees, and that and unfortunately today's life, you know, the economy and everybody's income is not what it always was. So there's also the idea that attorney will sometimes do everything just to save money for the client. So ultimately deciding litigation, not litigation. Remember, law is not only litigation. Law is also, you can go and do conveyancing. You can go and be a legal advisor. I mean, in terms of the state environment, you can go and work for the state advocates, the state attorneys, although the state advocates are more advisory in nature. But state attorneys, again, is litigation. Remember, you're just then acting for the Department of Health, the Department of Justice, Department of Education. So when they are sued as a state attorney, you would then go on record for them. And as I say, there's intellectual property rights, which in law, and that which is also a vast area of the law that you can also go into. You don't have to only do litigation. But if litigation is in your blood, I think, unfortunately, that's not something you get rid of. It is either you like it or you don't like it. Either you like standing up in a court and arguing a case and asking, you know, the judge asking you questions, or the magistrate, and that idea of thinking of your feet. I always say litigation lawyers are a little bit of adrenaline junkies. You know, that rush of standing up, of arguing the matter, of pitting yourself against an opponent, against the magistrate or the judge. But not everybody is adrenaline junkies, and if you are not, don't push yourself to be something that you are not comfortable with, because there's lots of people that have really suffered, that feels like that, you know, they and it's there's nothing wrong with it. I know I deal with a lot of candidate attorneys that are 24, 25, 26. And a lot of times they come back to the office after the first month or two, and they're very upset. And they say, yeah, but the magistrate has said this, and the magistrate was nasty, and the magistrate bit my head off, and the magistrate didn't listen. And then I usually ask them, no, what do you want me to do? I cannot go to court on your behalf and tell the magistrate to listen. And that is litigation. You must learn a tactic of making the magistrate listen to you, making sure your client's case is properly prepared and properly presented. So yeah, do your homework, do a bit of job shadowing, and see if your heart is really in litigation. Okay. Any questions? I try to be short so that I'm sure there's usually a lot of questions. Yeah, I see a hand, Palesa.
Application you vote. May you please only take a single question, and then I think more questions can please be forwarded to the chat room.
Okay, that's fine. I will then I will do that. So her hand was up first, Palesa. So let's stick with the first hand, Palesa. I see. There you go, Palesa. Now you're unmuted. Yes.
Good evening. So I don't like the question I have. I don't know if it's relevant, but I'm a diploma in law student and it's my first year this year. So I would also like to know, after I obtain my degree, what is the way forward? Because I think in 2 years I'll be obtaining my degree, and I would like to know, should I then go and specialize in a certain kind of law, or should I continue into the LLB stream, or like what can I do further?
Well, I think there again, it's what you want to do with your law degree, and that's why I say I think you must expose yourself to as much as possible to make that decision. My understanding of the Legal Practice Act is that you cannot be admitted as an attorney without an LLB. So even if you after do your diploma and ultimately you say, you know what, no, I want to be that attorney or I want to be the advocate, then you will have to do the LLB. But if you say after your first degree, no, I don't want to go that far. There's other avenues for you to consider. So I think the question you have to ask yourself is, what is it that ultimately you want to do? And then having an LLB will just make it more possible. Then your opportunities for having choices at that stage is better than maybe just the diploma.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I hope that the student inquiry was cleared. Thank you so much, Advocate Newbert. That was rather informative, and thank you also for the answers as well.
We have questions.
We will now move on to the next speaker. I think we should go back to Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper.
Good morning, Chair. I don't have permissions to present, so if you could also just maybe share my presentation. I wasn't given proper permissions when I joined.
Mona BC, can you please assist with that?
Actually, when it comes to Mr. Cooper, we've been struggling to give him permission. We've been trying it for the past 20 minutes or so. Mr. Cooper, may you kindly email me your presentation so I can share it on your behalf?
I will do so.
Yes.
You can just check your emails now. I have sent a presentation. I did send it to, I think it's Charmaine yesterday, but just check your emails. I emailed everyone from UNISA.
Okay. No, just give us a moment.
Mr. Cooper, I will share it from my side.
Oh, thank you, Chloe.
I assume that the presentation is still being. Oh yes, thank you, Flo.
Okay, thank you. Could everyone please turn their speakers off, the microphones? Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, UNISA students. My name is Athiston Cooper. I'm an attorney, director, and CEO of law firm Kambonane Cooper. It's a law firm that I started when I finished my articles. On the picture in front of you, you'll see on the left, Ivan Kambonane, in the middle, Nadia Vanya, and the two of them are my co-directors, and I'm sitting there on the right. If we could please flip to the next slide. So KC Law, just a quick intro. We are a group of young, dynamic legal practitioners. There are 10 practitioners within our firm. We have 4 candidates and 6 attorneys, and then a cohort of admin staff. My road to Kambonani Cooper started at WITS. I joined WITS and I did a BA Politics and Law degree in 2008. From there, I moved to UNISA and I started my LLB whilst my BA carried on. I moved to UNISA and I did an LLB. So I left WITS and I decided that I needed to do correspondent learning and I needed to get some life experience, start working, and that's exactly what I did. I joined UNISA and I found UNISA to be a very invaluable experience for me as a person. It helped me develop by giving me the flexibility to experience life and skill myself whilst studying. That's something that I did throughout my studies. I carried on with my LLB, traveled a bit, traveled around the world. UNISA has exam centers all over the world, so I actually wrote exams whilst in the US, whilst I was working abroad, and then ultimately just came back to WITS, converted my UNISA courses to WITS courses just to get a WITS degree. So I do have WITS degrees, but for all intents and purposes, the bulk of my law learning happened through UNISA. Please, can we change to the next slide? So I finished my law degree in 2014. I didn't get articles. I struggled to get articles. And fortunately, I applied to work at the Johannesburg High Court, which is called the Gauteng Local Division of the High Court. I was accepted as a judge's secretary for Judge Charisse Wiener. I worked for her as well as another judge, Judge Mudau, during my year of clerking for the judges. I must admit, when I finished my law degree, I wasn't the best legal student. My marks weren't the best. I was B to C grades, and I suppose that's one of the reasons I didn't get articles, because there are a lot of people getting straight A's and very good marks. So I had the benefit of clerking at the High Court, where I got to understand law in a very a crash course manner. I was forced to swim and not be someone holding back my judge. So I was forced to work extra hard, double time, just so that I could get to grips with what was happening and essentially not prevent the judicial system from moving forward. And that's the task of a judge's clerk, is to make sure that court runs smoothly. You make sure that everything happens. If there's an issue, you sort it out. The following year, I got my articles. I was accepted to do articles at a firm called BBM in Rosebank, Johannesburg. And I actually got to know of BBM because whilst clerking, they had a few matters before me, and then I built a somewhat of a relationship with the people who would come to court from BBM, and I learned about this firm and I applied to them, and that's actually how I got articles. And I think it's important for everyone to know that whilst you will Google and you will try and find big firms to apply to, and you will know all the big firm names, your ENS's, Bowman's, Worksman's, etc., the reality is there are 1,000+ firms that you can apply to, and you are going to be it's very hard to get into the big firms. They have very strict requirements, so the majority of people have to actually make a plan when you're getting articles. You need to be resourceful, you need to meet people, you need to do research, and that's how most people get articles. So that's just something for everyone to keep in mind when it comes time to applying for legal jobs and articles. Now, I finished clerking at BBM, met my business partner, Ivan Kambonane, who was practicing on his own at the time. We kicked it off and decided, let's start a new firm. And from 2018, as I got admitted as an attorney, I registered to do my practice management training, which is a compulsory LPC course if you want to be a director. or run a law firm. And then I started my law firm. And now we have 10 lawyers, fast forward a few years, 10 lawyers and a growing burgeoning practice. If we could please change to the next slide. Now, what I wanted to communicate to everyone was what I think are the skills that young professionals or professionals in general require to be a successful lawyer. And this is my experience from managing people, managing candidates, managing attorneys, and interacting with the legal profession in general. However, before I start, I just want to give some people the benefit of what I think does not make a good lawyer. Now, one thing that does not make a good lawyer is watching people on TV and thinking that that is what I need to be. And you'll often get your Jacob Zuma, MK kind of matters where you see a lot of showmanship and legal theatrics in court. Those are not the types of lawyers that you want to be. You want to be a lawyer that resonates with the person that you have, that you are, the skills that you have as an individual, and you want to work on that because that is going to be your niche. Every single person is different. No two people are the same. You can't copy me and think that you're going to be a good lawyer. It won't work. You have to be yourself, be true to yourself, and you have to figure out what your skills and your strengths are so that you can use your legal development to hone those skills and then become the best version of yourself as a lawyer. Another thing that does not make a good lawyer is arguing. You don't want to be the person who thinks they're the smartest person in the room because every single lawyer gets things wrong very often. Judges get things wrong all the time. As you can see, there's one minority judgment in the Court and then 9 majority judgments. One judge got it wrong, actually. And that's what law is about. It's not about knowing it all, being the cleverest person. It's about achieving the results for your client. We are here not for our own purpose, not to serve our egos, but we are here to help someone, to get a result for someone. And that's what we must always be mindful of. Now, skills for a successful lawyer. They're on screen, so everyone will be able to make sense of what they are. But I just want to try and apply them to you as students. Taking initiative. You can't sit and listen, soak things up every single day and think you're going to improve more than the next person that does the exact same thing. If you think that you like criminal law, then go and look into criminal law, go to court, watch a criminal matter, sit in the back of the benches and hear what's going on. Then you will know, and then you will be better than someone who just read their intro to criminal law 301 course pack, whatever it may be. Initiative is important. As a lawyer, you are required to solve problems. You don't solve problems by being told what to do. You are going to be the person that has to decide how to solve a problem. And initiative is a skill that you have to develop, work on as a youngster. Inevitably, you will try things, it won't work. And that's part of learning. So don't be afraid to try and fail as well. Punctual completion of tasks. If you are one of those people who's not submitting your assignments on time and you're not prepared to write the exam because you decided to study the week before and next thing you've got a sick note, that's going to carry on throughout your legal career. So do yourself a favor, start being more disciplined, punctual with time. Once you start becoming disciplined, you will succeed in life. Emails and letter quality. We are a profession that is based on how we speak and what we write. That's it, nothing else. Your letters have to be perfect. Your emails have to be perfect. We're not writing WhatsApp messages and Instagram posts when we speak in a professional sense. So please try and divorce yourself of that tendency. You have to be professional people. The reason we are lawyers and we are not substitute teachers in school is because we are paid and expected to be professional and to do things in a professional manner. So you will be judged by the quality of your emails, your letters, and everyone can develop that skill. You should start developing it from your studies because you are constantly writing. And every time you write, you must use it as an example as an opportunity to improve your writing skills. If you don't know what a good letter or an email looks like, Google, watch YouTube videos and work on it from there. Legal drafting is something that you will have to know as a skill eventually. Your ability to draft well in a legal manner depends on your ability to research, your ability to understand what you are saying, and your ability to construct arguments and sentences. So this is something just to keep in mind, but it is a skill that is important. When you go to court and you are arguing like Dalim Pofu, it doesn't matter what you say in court. It matters what is in your papers. So you don't know what they've put in their papers. The judge has the papers to read. They listen to you at court, yes, but it's all about what's in your papers. So see that as a very crucial skill. Next, accountability. You have to be accountable firstly to yourself and secondly to your clients. Client interaction. Client interaction is you being a professional towards someone from the public or someone that needs your services. Now, you can't treat someone from the public as if they're your friend or your family member, and you can't judge people. You have to be open-minded, and you need to develop your skills of how you interact with clients, and you develop that from how you interact with people. So use your interactions with your colleagues, with your lecturers, as an opportunity to develop how you interact with the public in general. The last item is speed of task completion. As a lawyer, you are going to be inundated with work. You are going to have lots of matters. If you have 20 clients, then it means at any given time you have 20 people's lives to deal with and to contend with on a daily basis. So you need to be quick when you do things. You can't take long. If someone is trying to fight for money that they are entitled to, the longer you take, the harder it is for them. So speed of task completion is a skill that will make you a successful lawyer as well. However, you don't want to be quick and then sloppy. So you have to always have a balance. Though these are some of the skills that I believe if you are able to master whilst you are studying, it's going to put you in good standing in your profession. And it doesn't matter where you end up, these skills are going to help you be a better version of yourself. And most importantly, it is what employers look for. Thanks. That's the last slide. And questions to follow if there are any questions or if I have time.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. I think we can take one question and then the rest of the questions will be taken to the chat box. I'm seeing a question from Temba Belengwa. Let me try to unmute him.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I'm going to try and keep it short. You mentioned that you struggled to obtain articles. So I wanted to ask whether there are specific skills or platforms that recent law graduates should focus on to bridge the gap while seeking employment and enhance their employability in the legal industry. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for the question. So the previous speaker spoke about the Database that mentions law firms. I believe that if you contact the Law Society, they will give you access, electronic access to those resources. It's good to sign up for as many mail lists as you can. One important tool that our law firm uses for hiring candidates is a website called Leap.ly. So we exclusively get our candidate attorneys recruited from that website. you as a graduate loads your profile on leap.ly, and from there, hirers, employers look for people that meet their requirements. It's like a sifting website that says what year of study you're in, whether you have an undergrad, how old you are, what practical skills you have if you've worked before. And depending on the requirements of the hirer, you will plug into the system what you are looking for, and it will dish out who meets your requirements. So I would suggest that everyone gets onto leap.ly from maybe third year, second year. There are even people looking to take in people for temporary work, vacation work. So you can go there. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cooper. We really appreciate your presence here with us today. We will now move on to item number 9 on our program. It's Miss Boipelo Soko from Baker McKenzie. She will be presenting about women in law. Miss Soko. Miss Soko. Monabisi.
Yes, I can see Ms. Soko. Let me just give her rights to speak. Let's just give her a moment, because she is in a
Good
Yes.
afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Soko.
you for having me. Are we able to disable so I can also share? Okay, perfect. Thank you. I see that it's now working. Just going to switch on my camera for a little bit. Good afternoon, everyone, and especially good afternoon to the UNISA students. Thank you for having me in the session today. I'm going to kickstart just by popping my name on the chat. My name is Boipelo Soko. I am the recruitment manager at a law firm known as Baker McKenzie. I'd like to also make a special thank you to Ms. Manduma Kanya. I see she was quickly buzzing me to check that I'm online. And I have been for quite some time. I had the wonderful opportunity to listen to some of the previous speakers. As a closing speaker, I think today I was given the opportunity to speak to you about women in law. A little bit slightly different from the conversation as it's been going through the rest of your morning in relation to, kind of the skill sets that UNISA or law students in general require in order to make it in industry and what industry is looking for. So just by way of introduction. So like I said, I'm Boipelo. I'm the recruitment manager at Baker McKenzie. Baker McKenzie is a global commercial law firm. So we pride ourselves as the biggest global commercial law firm in the world. So we have offices in over 44 countries, so 77 offices spread across the world. And what we think differentiates us in the market is the fact that we operate not in siloed approaches. So you don't have a Baker McKenzie in Johannesburg that is completely removed from what is happening in Spain, London, Australia, etc. We really do collaborate across offices, across offices and across matters, and obviously then across clients. But for my talk today, so I was going to speak about women in law, but, listening also to some of the other speakers as they've gone on, I wanted to rather focus a little bit on what it means to speak about women in law, but on a larger scale, what it means to have diversity in the workplace, and what does that mean to you as candidates. And I see the chat box, so I will respond to the questions when we have time. So I'm going to share my presentation. I'm going to switch off my cameras just so I can share my screen. If you can just give me a second. Speaker, if you can just allow, not speaker, if you can just disable so I'm able to share my presentation. I currently don't have rights to share my presentation. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so women in law, what does that mean and why does it matter? So just in terms of the points that I'm going to be speaking about today is women in law and why diversity matters, and diversity in relation not just to women, but to you as students and as people that are looking to go into the profession. And I'm aware that some of you are already in the working profession in different areas, maybe not necessarily within the legal sector. But what does that then mean in terms of what does that then mean in terms of diversifying our pool? And why I think this is an important topic, especially for students to have line of sight of. The fact that in recruitment, we, not just in recruitment, but also within varsities as a whole, you have a majority female students who are studying for the LLB degree or are studying for LLB courses, whether it's paralegal courses, diploma courses, etc. You have a high majority of females studying to get into the profession. But once in the profession, especially about within 5 to 10 years later, there seems to be a drop in the stats of females to male ratio. And I think that even in 2024, that is something that is still an anomaly, but is also an opportunity for all of us, not just industry, not just organizations, to make a change of. I think it's something that at student level, you need to be aware of, because not just as a woman, but even as a male ally, you need to be aware about what are some of the things that make people, fall out in that race towards, the goal of success. So if you're ultimately looking at becoming like the previous speaker, right, who's then started their own law firm, what are some of those things that negatively impact one's ability to grow? So moving on to the next slide. Why diversity matters. So first of all, it obviously increases the talent pool. It strengthens customer orientation for those of you that will ultimately go into practice, whether you are the advocacy route or you are the admitted attorney route. Ultimately, your clients, your bread and butter, they are why you go into this profession. For those of you that will become employers, like the previous speaker, it increases your employee satisfaction, it enables growth within industry, it enables your own growth, as you will, most of you, start off as employees, improves decision making, and of course enhances company image, right? But what does that then mean in terms of what we should be working on and learning together? So the previous speaker spoke quite a lot around the attributes that you then look for, the technical aspects. But what we're looking for, especially from a recruitment perspective, is people that are already working towards this way of thinking. The sense of inclusion in terms of how you contribute and how you bring people in into spaces that they wouldn't ordinarily have access to. Do you treat people in a way that is equal, and in a way that also recognizes that not just fairness and justice, but also ensures that people actually have the opportunity to advance? And I think even at your own level as students, I would challenge you to think about who are the people that are in your study groups, who are the people that you engage with within your societies. For those of you that are working already, who are the colleagues that you refer to as your allies, as the people that you are mentoring or that you are wanting to be mentored by? Those are really important questions, because they then speak to also your own, potential biases, as well as your own ability to be a change agent, where you recognize that there are injustices within the day-to-day practices of work or day-to-day practices of study, right? So to which at which level are you then? For example, a person that recognizes, for example, microaggressions. So for microaggressions, especially within female circles, but also within racial circles, are things that seem to be inhibitors to growth. Because quite often a person comes in, a junior, and will say, you know, there are comments that my senior makes that I'm not sure if I'm overreading this. Am I being too sensitive? You know, is this an inhibitor to success if I address this? The tone that they use with me. So just yesterday, I was in a meeting with a friend of mine who was mentioning that where he works, he walked into a room and immediately, because of the client in the room, his colleague, who was a senior, started speaking in a different language that is obviously not English, because, you know, the business of the day would have been to then speak in English, but they then spoke in a different language. And obviously he doesn't understand this language, so he wasn't able to participate or engage in the discussion. And only after their own little conversation had kind of been going on for a bit, did one of the members of the client group then turn around and say, oh, sorry, I think now let's go back to English so that this other person can participate in the conversation. And I thought, you know, as a colleague, do you recognize when you are the one that is creating barriers to success, when you're creating barriers to inclusion, when you are creating barriers to, you know, people feeling like they can contribute and be part of a team, right? So within the scope, I think thinking about what is DEI, what is a DEI being diversity, equity, and inclusion, what does that then mean for success? What does that mean for success for a female looking to grow in industry? What does that then mean for a Black male even also looking to grow in industry? Because to come back to those stats that I touched on earlier, you're also finding less and less African Black males studying for the LLB degree, which has been an interesting stat over this last at least 5 years to see starting to reduce. And then questioning, why is that? Why are African male candidates struggling to make it through the LLB degree and then ultimately into industry, versus females who, I said earlier, are coming into the studies as a majority, but are then struggling to make it to senior positions? So what is it that within our personal day-to-day engagements and within our workplaces we need to interrogate towards making that change? And it's in these 5 points, right? It's in these 5 points of understanding what is it that I need to do differently. So what does that mean for you as an individual? It means that you look at what is it that others need to do. So are others advocates for people from underrepresented or marginalized groups? So within your spaces, within your social spaces, within your workplaces, within your study spaces, who are the people that are underrepresented and why? And especially as aspiring lawyers, these are things, that social issues that you need to always be mindful of, whether it eventually migrates into client consults, whether it migrates into NGO spaces where you're trying to make an impact. You're always having to keep an eye out for social issues and understanding who are the underrepresented and marginalized groups whose voices are not heard and need to be represented. And then who is the person that is then the ally to taking an action outside of their own group, and what does that person then do? And then personally, also then understanding, for yourself, what is it that you need to do to address your own allyship or your own role within becoming a change agent in your day-to-day engagement. So do you focus on the now and what it means in relation to your future self or your future ambitions? do you have a growth mindset? And I will always speak on a growth mindset, because a growth mindset speaks to people not being static in how they learn and how they do things and how they engage with others. Do you have a level of self-understanding? You know, who you are, what is your core and what drives you, and what are the different things that you are having to develop in order to get you to the part of yourself that you're envisioning reaching, versus the parts that you need to explore because they are new to you. So, you know, the focus, like I said, being on the now, but also being very future focused. Okay. And then maybe just closing off on the part around your role. It's, you know, just understanding that as incumbent lawyers, as people that want to make a change in society, most people study law because, you know, of personal experiences that have then, you know, become bigger in the course of your studies. But what is the role that you want to do, that you want to make with your career? Are you then going to use this degree or this diploma, as it were, for good? And do you also recognize that you are actually in a privileged position, in that at the end of this year, you are coming out with a certificate, that confirms that you have made it. You know, you have made it in the you have made it in trying to achieve this this LLB or this diploma. What kind of change agent are you? Are you one that will listen and learn, versus always trying to be the voice that's wanting to be heard? Are you then the advocate for those that you recognize in a room or in whatever setting are underrepresented or have become voiceless for whatever reason, have been left out, have not been included? And then do you then also create opportunities for others to grow, for others to shine? I interviewed a candidate this week who touched on the fact that her self-confidence is built on the fact that she doesn't need to compete. She is competitive, but not competing at the expense of, you know, of others being able to shine. So do you create opportunities for others to do so? And where you recognize bias, because bias is in our day-to-day actions, it's in the things that we say, it's in the things that we ignore, openly ignore or joke about. Are you the person that will interrupt and call it out for what it is, as opposed to just letting it slide because, you know, you don't want to be difficult in a specific situation? And then are you also the person that enhances teamwork by giving voice to different types of voices, different approaches, different backgrounds, different ways of thinking and being? And then do you then embrace new ideas? Do you embrace new cultures? Do you embrace people that are different from you and how they do things? Again, these are all attributes really also of a successful lawyer, the person who makes an impact beyond themselves. And I'm going to close off, and I know it seems as if I've zoomed through my presentation, with a quote from the very famous judge, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who touches on the fact that for her, this quote reads, "I would like to be remembered as someone who used whatever talent she had to do her work to the very best of her ability." And as I close off, I want to challenge you to think about, as you navigate your career, please always reflect on what kind of impact you would like to make with your career, what kind of impact you'd like to make for your colleagues, for the people around you, for the community that you will ultimately serve, in how you follow through on your degree, and how you do that given the opportunities and the resources, and importantly, the talent that you do possess. That is it from me. So I will stop sharing my screen and I will very quickly address the questions that I see in the chat bot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Soko. Students, can you please kindly state your questions in the chat box? We are now going to move to student evaluation. There's going to be a link that is going to be posted under the chat room. That is a link which is going to take you to a form, an evaluation form, basically. The form assists us in improving our services in future. So I don't know if the link has been shared already. Or Komodo, have you already shared the link?
Okay. Whilst you do that, can I address the questions that were addressed to me in the chat?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I'll start with the first one that I saw right at the beginning about from Valencia. Which CV form is best? Honestly, Valencia, a concise CV is the best. Most CVs now, especially graduate CVs, are about a page, one page, or maximum 2, depending on your working experience. So about a 1-page CV. The previous speaker spoke about an application system called Leaply. Most law students should be aware of it. So if you can go on to Leaply or even go on LinkedIn, once you start inputting your information, those systems then auto-generate a CV for you. It's just up to you to make the content as not just concise, but balancing it with being comprehensive, because you want to make sure that your skills are clear, obviously your contact details, as well as your experiences, whether that is be formal or informal, voluntary or voluntary work. So those are really just important aspects to have in your CV. Just remembering that your CV is your first introduction to any potential employer. So you want to make sure that it's your best foot forward that you're putting there. So grammatical and spelling errors are an absolute no. And then from Untatile, yeah, so Untatile, great point. Diversity of life really is quite important. And I think with one of the earliest speakers, I saw somebody touching on the fact that they were 40 years old and are studying for the LLB, what are some of their options? And I think that's really one of the beauties of studying at UNISA, right? It's the fact that we all start at very different points in our lives and have different motivations for why we are going for these degrees or these diploma courses. So even from a recruitment perspective, that is something that is incredibly important to us. So just by way of example, I think we just closed off our VAT program this week. And we had a number of UNISA students in that VAT program, and all of them actually from very different backgrounds. Some of them working full time and much older than the majority of the cohort, and others much younger, and I guess what you'd call a traditional student in the sense that they had just finished matric and had decided to study at UNISA for the LLB. So diversity of life really is important because it speaks to how people will approach and work with each other, what their approach to work will look like, their approach to clients, their approach to each other. But you also want to see people bring that to the table as something that is of value, that you can learn from different people, people from different backgrounds, people of different ways of life. Yeah, so if you are a mature student, so if you're somebody that is much older, I highly encourage that you don't take for granted the working experience that you do have. In fact, make sure that you highlight that as some of the skill sets that you bring to the table, because that is part of what makes you unique. Oh, I see. That's actually Christian's comment as well. Other opportunities? Yes, absolutely, Christian. In my years of especially graduate recruitment, I've recruited a number of mature candidates. I will not lie and say that it is not difficult. It is difficult, but it probably isn't the proportionality of it isn't much higher like than like a younger student as you were. it's really just you understanding that you are probably walking into an environment where some of your seniors are younger than you or haven't had the type of life experience or working experience that you have. And so in certain instances, you may be the one that knows more, but it's understanding that you are coming in at a junior level. And so you have a lot more to learn from the people around you, but that is not to say that you don't bring value or a wealth of experience that will be beneficial to the organization and to your team. Neurological disabilities as well, Mr. Maboko, incredibly important. And I think that especially now, at least there's more of an opening and people being willing to speak about their neurological disabilities. And I've seen it also on applications where candidates will say, I had, for example, maybe dyslexia, and it was undiagnosed for years. And now that it's finally diagnosed, I was able to improve my grades, or I was able to improve my working habits, because now I know what my learning issue, for example, has been. And what that does is it gives your potential employer the opportunity to say, okay, great. So these are the this is what we can then do to ensure that you will thrive in our environment. For example, at Baker McKenzie, we make sure not to say it's reasonable accommodations, because I think, the term itself, reasonable accommodations, is quite limiting, because then people think, is this a reasonable expectation? Is it reasonable for me to ask to be accommodated in this way, to have a little bit more time to complete a written assessment, to have a little bit more time to, go over my work, because I have to ensure that, that attention to detail, which is a requirement in the legal space, that is something that, I then have a little bit more time to engage with. Those are things that you want your people to be able to thrive. You want your people to be able to feel comfortable to do their work well. And so you then go, okay, cool. Let us know in advance so that we can then make those adjustments so that you're able to do well. So yes, neurological disabilities really is no reason for somebody not to declare them, I think. And if you apply to an organization and they discriminate on that basis, then really that's not the organization that you anyway want to be working for. And you potentially want to go up against them. Okay, let's see. Elizabeth also touched on that comment, a really important one as well. Thank you, Advocate Newfold. Yeah. And I think that's it for me. Don't forget. Yeah, I think that's it for me. I think I've addressed all the questions. I'm also grateful to Advocate Newvote. I see she's also adding her comments as well there to some of the questions, which I think is great. Obviously, then gives you a variety of responses for you to be aware of. Thank you very much, and wishing you everything of the best as you begin your legal careers in whichever way that they go. It's the beauty of law is how diverse it is, and I hope you can really use your degree and your diplomas to make the kind of difference that takes us forward as a country, as a people, but also allows you to to reach all the aspirations that you're working towards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Soko. That was rather motivational. Thank you so much. Students, please use the link in the chat box. The link has been sent through. I can see it there. And then in the meantime, may I please call upon Mr. Makahani, who is going to be doing the vote of thanks.
Yes, thank you very much, colleagues. Yeah, it was a jam-packed. Today we were graced with the like of Dr. Mesh, who did the opening and welcome. It's not every time when you have the opportunity to meet our director, you know. So you are very fortunate enough today to have got an opportunity to meet our director, Dr. Mesh. We call him Dr. Mesh, Dr. Mashapata. But first and foremost, I would like to thank Mr. Monwabisi, the program director, as well as Tebahano. Guys, you have run the program so well so that I don't know if it was me, whether I would have managed to do this. This was well appreciated. And I think besides that, there are people behind the scenes, the likes of Kumuzo, Gloria, Diksha, and our Diksha, although she's on leave, and our TCGP as well as our interns. They were hands-on this project. So, hey guys, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. And our distinguished guests, which is our students, you know, guys, for coming here. Also, I have learned something that I was not aware of. Today, I heard about the notary. Every time when they say I must certify my documents in the notary, not a police station, I was keep on asking myself, what's the difference between police and notary? What is there? Then I realized that I think this notary thing is about beyond, because they can scrutinize the document, that they authenticate them and so on. That is what was given the information by Mr. Sam Shadung. We appreciate you from Sekwapa Incorporated. Every time when we call you, please guys, come. This is for the sake of the community, the sake of the country, and your presence is very important. Then we also have our very own from Florida, Sepiso Palafala. She was telling us about the Black Lawyers Association, not the BLF as she has given us, because also my idea was to say, oh, we have got at least a young female who is leading the BLF. So hence it's a BLASC. So guys, I think you must join that. I heard them also talking about the issue of, they also had some not workshop per se, something to go to the mountain hiking and so on. It was very interesting to hear that, to learn that even lawyers, they also think about their health and so on. Then we also was graced with Lerato Mlambo from Brief Comparison, Technology and Law. So it was a well-rounded workshop, which gives us the opportunity to have different kind of speakers who were there to give us their knowledge and their understanding. That was also followed by in South Africa law firm, Mrs. Andisi Westmpala. We thank you very much for coming to this workshop as well. Guys, every time when we call you, we know that you are going to give us as much knowledge as you have provided us. It's well received. And then I won't forget Ms. Joan Anthony Gooden, who is a president of Law Society of South Africa. Then imagine having a president in your midst who can tell you the real things in the real time, and being able to associate with them when you are still a student. That is a motivation on itself. I couldn't look for any other motivation except that one. We also have from Kambonane Cooper Law Firm, Mr. Anthony Cooper. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, but I really appreciate your presence, sir. And we really appreciate for all these things that we have given to our students. I think our students have learned a lot, not only our students, even us who are not in the law fraternity. We have learned a lot of different kind of law that are provided, which is very important as well. We have also learned about the litigation, courtwork, and job shadowing. So if you wanted to do job shadowing, because we keep on telling students, if you wanted to understand whether what you wanted to study is really what you wanted, then rather go and do work shadowing. If you wanted to be a doctor, go to learn from a hospital or a doctor. Then you will see if you really can stand blood or you cannot stand blood. Then you will say to yourself, this is not for me. So Advocate Elizabeth Nivehout, thank you very much from Legal Aid, a woman in law. Imagine that alone. We are going far as a country as a whole. Mr. Boipelo Soko, Baker Mackenzie, we appreciate you to bring along the expertise from the women perspective. And this alone, it will go a long way. So I won't thank myself, because you can see the vote of thanks is supposed to be that is done by me, Patuan Makahane, as a student counselor, a psychologist, educational psychologist at UNISA. Thank you very much, colleagues. And please, every time when we keep a call out and say, please come and help our students, do not deny, because these students want to hear from you direct, because sometimes when you provide this information to them, it is not as good as you are giving it from the horse's mouth. Having said that, I appreciate you And we also thank our manager, Dr. P, who was also behind the scene trying to make sure this workshop is successful. And having said that, without wasting much time, I'll put back to you, the program directors. Thank you very much, everyone who has come through, including mostly our distinguished guests, our students. Please always, when you take a call out, do not share the information. Sometimes it's important for you to understand that it's not only for us, but it's for you to understand where to go to from here. You look at the opportunities. Sometimes they leave their emails to these people, then you can contact them and do your articles, whatever. If articles are done there, then thank you very much. Having said that, thank you very much. Back to you, Program Director.
Thank you, Mr. Magahani. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who made it today. Your presence is highly appreciated. For me, this is goodbye, and please enjoy your day further. Thank you.